This is the ITV, the improved tow vehicle.
Okay.
The tow vehicle originally, they mounted them on Jeeps. They mounted them on, I think they had it mounted on a 113 out in the open. It was just like, hey, take that tow.
And the tow being the tube-launched, optically tracked, wire-guided missile.
Which is designed to kill, you got something right. Which is designed.
The reason I know that, folks, is because it was on the Cobra.
Yeah.
I don't deal with track vehicles. I'm a crunchy.
So these things are, when they first fielded the Bradley is an infantry fighting vehicle, and they wanted the anti-tank capability to be quasi-separate. Never mind the fact that every Bradley has a tow launcher on top. So every
coming. He felt it.
The battalion I started off in had 4 companies of Bradleys and 1 company of ITVs. The ITV has that what's called the hammerhead up top. It had 11 hotels, heavy weapons infantrymen.
That's a lot of hotels.
No, anti-tank infantrymen or whatever an 11 hotel was. But the 11 hotels were responsible for maintaining and operating the vehicle. The vehicle had a couple of serious drawbacks. You could probably guess from the beginning. It's fairly top heavy. It was designed to be fired from what's called a hull down position. So you get into a place where all of this is covered, and as much as you can get is covered, so that the only part that's sticking out is the part that is going to fire the tow missiles.
So hold on, wait. So who digs that hole? The 11 hotels?
Nobody digs the hole.
Well, how do you
find
get it
terrain? You go right down there, and
okay.
you may have to knock down trees.
This thing, what's the height of the telescope?
It can get fairly high, but you can get it at different angles.
Yeah.
It's fairly flexible.
All right.
You can, if you come around to the front, you can see where the missiles, this is actually the back of the launcher. So the missiles were loaded in from this side and it fired from the other way. So the hammerhead would come up and it kind of looked like a giraffe's head. You have a driver and you have the track commander right here. And then you had guys in the back whose main function was to make sure that the tow was loaded. When you loaded it, it would go into a load position, which means it would super elevate. And there's a hatch in the back. They'd open the hatch and they'd put the tow missiles in. And then you could go to a different firing position.
So in the back here you had the 11
hotels.
Hotel. How many of them?
2 or 3.
2, okay.
But you can see where you could get 2 tows. Those 2 circles, that's where the tow missile would launch out of. So it would launch this way, but you would elevate it and crank the hammerhead up so it would fire this way.
And how many, do you know how many they would carry inside?
You could travel with 2 loaded, and I think it carried 8 internally.
Okay.
It may have been more.
Okay.
That's a lot of tow rounds. That's, wow.
Yeah, if you're up against 10 tanks.
You also had, you had buddies. It's you're not the only one shooting. Somebody else is shooting, because you don't want to be the guy that's
shooting.
Now the advantage it has is it has a range of 3,750 meters, and there's no reduction in penetration based on range because it is a hollow charge. One of
the disadvantages of the tow, we don't use it anymore.
Oh yeah, we still use it.
Was not that's true, and Marine Cobras carry it.
Mm-hmm.
It was not a fire and forget weapon.
Yeah.
Meaning, you get a sight up there, you shoot the tow, you got to keep your sight on that. So if it's this vehicle or whatever else vehicle, it has to keep that and track that tow all the way.
Now they may have come out with a solution to that.
To the target. So meaning you can't pop up, shoot one, pop up, shoot another one. You got to wait till that first one impacts unless you have multiple designators.
Well, these, I think they are fire and forget now.
And the Army went to the Hellfire because, well, no, the Apache didn't carry a tow anymore. It carries a Hellfire.
No, but the Bradley carries tows,
Yeah.
but I think there's a tow now that is fire and forget. These
Why don't
were
you use
not
wire?
fire and forget. You did away with the wire.
Yeah. And it's not a tow.
It's tube launch topically, whatever. They
Wire
just call
guided.
it-
The W and
they-
tow is wire.
They still
Help
call
me
it-
out here, people.
It's still this thing
You're
is
good, man.
no longer in the inventory. It was a good field expedient. The Soviets were, from everything that we saw, the Soviets were very concerned about them. This was a high priority target for them. They were going to come charging across through the Fulda Gap, guns ablazing, and these guys were supposed to take them out.
Well, I mean, despite the disadvantages, the tow was a very formidable
Oh, yeah.
weapon. It was things.
They came into the inventory. The 113 family came in the inventory in the early 60s, and it's still, we're modifying them today. They've got a bunch of them in the Ukraine. They seem to like them. That would have been a good place to send all these. They like shooting tows at stuff.
All right, so there's a designator around here somewhere, right?
So now we're going to go
laser
talk
guy?
to its quasi
Boss,
fraternal twin.
coordinator, the
They had-
choreographer.
They didn't have anything to do with these.
They designated for these.
No, they didn't.
No? What did they designate for?
Artillery.
Oh.
That's why it's a fist V. Now we're going to go wander over here. There's another vehicle. Looks very, very similar to this. One of the problems with the ITV and what we're going to go talk to you about the fire support track, the
Don't look at me.
the Fist V, fire support team vehicle, the Fist V, is they looked very similar, but both of them were very high payoff targets for the Russians. So you were in a very lightly armored vehicle that everybody wanted to kill. So we'll wander on over there and have a look at that.
All right.
But after looking at it from, this is a Fist V. It's on a newer version of the M901. That system's been in the inventory since the 60s.
Yeah, because this wasn't on, when we looked at the
Yeah, these big
ITV,
sponsons.
this wasn't on here, right?
Yeah, all that's usually on there is a small aluminum box that always gets banged up and crunched.
So what was this for?
I'm not sure what they put in these. Some of them actually had fuel pods, extended fuel.
Okay. So not a specific purpose, just a addition onto the vehicle.
It had other stuff, but these vehicles, these had a steering yoke. So instead of using brakes to pull down and brake one, you slow the track movement on one side, which makes you turn in that direction. So if you slow down, you pull on the right hand side, you're braking this, it would turn to the right and vice versa. And to stop totally, you pull them both back and you basically brake it. You brake the tracks, and then you can lock it in place, and it's like having a parking brake on.
And that's specific to the Fist V or just the newer version of the 113 chassis?
That's the newer version of 113 chassis. The newer version has a steering yoke. So instead of having to brake, pulling on, you turned it like a Bradley. A Bradley has a steering yoke.
Okay.
So it's doing the same thing. It's braking, but you don't have to work one or the other.
And
It's
then do you have
a gas pedal,
an accelerator
and a
rather than
brake. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Obviously, it's an automatic transmission. You're not changing gears on any of this stuff.
What fun is that?
Nobody in the USA knows how to change gears anyhow, so it doesn't matter.
Since the 5-ton and 2 snap went out, right?
So you'll notice up here if you go back and look at the video we did on the ITV, the improved tow vehicle, it had 2 cutouts, one for each tube, and then the sighting system was in the center. This one does not have the 2 tubes. It only has that 1 circle, and that's where the laser designator comes out of. The laser designator is how you identified targets, and you could, there are a lot of munitions out there that will ride laser beams into the target, both bombs and there's some artillery launched projectiles that will ride lasers into the target.
Is that assembly typically called a turret, or is it?
They always call it a hammerhead.
Hammerhead, okay.
Now you'll notice it looks, like I mentioned on the ITV, it looks a lot like an ITV. Everybody in the battlefield wants to kill things that will kill them. So artillery is the #1 killer on the battlefield. So everybody wants to kill the eyes of the artillery. So they're going to go after these vehicles at a priority. And then the ITV was designed to kill tanks. So everybody wants to go after the tank killers, easy for me to say. And then the tank killers, both of these vehicles are fairly thin-skinned. They're not going to shrug off any rounds from any kind of direct fire from any tank. They'll stop small arms fire and possibly machine gun fire, but once you start getting into main gun ammunition for a BMP or even probably a Dishka up close,
yeah.
That 14.5 millimeter, the 12.7 machine gun round from the Soviet designed machine gun, it's gonna go through these. It's an aluminum alloy hull, that's why it can go through. Now, one thing both of them have in common is they are both swim capable. These are not very light, and as you can pick up, it's kind of shaped like a boat. You pull up to the water, you put down your trim, what we used to call on a Bradley a trim vane. The Bradleys don't swim anymore. If you want to come around front.
Well, before you do that, so this whole tailgate can come down, or the door open.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Nice.
You would never drop that door in combat.
The tailgate is hydraulic and this is just manual?
Yeah. So as you go to the front, that one's still on there. There was a piece of wood, and they kind of dry rotted over time, but it was mounted right here. You see these brackets, and the trim vane was attached to this. The driver would push it out, lock it in place, and it would hold that trim vane like this. So it would act like the bow of a boat. And then you would slowly drive into the water, and your only propulsion, matter of fact, there it is. There's the trim vane. That's the new improved version down there. It must have dry rotted off. But that happens because it's wood. So this is what held it in place. If that were to collapse, you could not really go forward into the water because the water is going to push you downward from that angle. So that's what you get for firing for artillery. There's a different system now. They're on Bradleys. Everybody looks the same now, so that there's no kind of giveaways. Oh, kill that guy, he's artillery. You want everybody to have the same chance of getting shot as you do.
Quanta costa?
I have no idea. They weren't that expensive. The 113 is an old weapon system.
Yeah.
Or platform.
Well, I bet that laser's super.
But there are so many different variants of this thing. And they're in use, I think, in 40 plus countries.
The 113.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not the laser.
They're ubiquitous.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I don't think anybody used these but us. Most of our allies, I know the British had a separate system on their FV systems.
Yeah.
Most of our allies had a backpack version of the
laser
designators.
All right.
And there you have it.
There you have it.
And this is the old 3-color European camouflage pattern. Green, brown, and black. Thanks a lot. Don't forget to
Tune in next
like.
time for something more exciting than a track vehicle.